Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dead by Daylight Gold, wherein I, a handsome fellow on the internet, attempt to balance the hit asymmetrical horror game Dead by Daylight. In this unofficial patch, I'm looking to make the game both fun and somewhat balanced for both sides. On today's episode, well, I'll be honest, I was worried about how I would do a survivor-sided video for a while. For Killer, it's pretty easy. They have perks, base kit changes, and a lot of add-ons to deal with. But each survivor only really has perks to discuss, and I don't want to upload a 5-minute video for each survivor since that really isn't fun to listen to generally, in my opinion. However, as I was thinking about it the other day, it hit me. I could just bundle a bunch of survivors together. But how to do it? Well, that was easier to figure out. I'm just going to do 4 survivors at a time in chronological order of release. As such, today we will be looking at the perks of the 4 original survivors: Dwight Fairfield, Meg Thomas, Claudette Morel, and Jake Park. Each survivor's perks will be addressed in alphabetical order. Feel free to use the timestamps in the description to get where you want to go quickly. That said, let's start off with Dwight Fairfield. Unfortunately, we have to start with Dwight Fairfield's perks, which are Bond, Leader, and Prove Thyself. This is unfortunate because I would have preferred to start with a survivor that has more interesting perks to talk about. Unfortunately, all of Dwight's perks are perfectly serviceable and don't really need changed in my opinion. So for Dwight, I'll just mention a couple of small things that might make them more interesting, but anyways, let's get on with it. Bond. Bond. Just Bond. Makes it so that you can see other survivors' auras while they're within 36 meters of you. This is super helpful as any amount of information can help you play around your teammates better. While it isn't flashy, it's certainly useful and doesn't need any changes. But what is this? A gentleman with a gun to my head telling me the only way to survive is if I change Bond in some manner. Well, I suppose in that case I would make it so that it also reveals the aura of lockers holding your teammates within 36 meters. It fits with the theme of the perk as a way to figure out where your teammates are. In addition, it would allow for better head-on plays in solo queue and avoid embarrassing situations where you try to enter an occupied locker. But I don't honestly think that change is needed. Leader. Leader is what I like to call a radial buff perk. It makes it so that all other survivors within 8 meters of you receive a 25% increase in speed to their healing, sabotage, unhooking, cleansing totems, exit gate opening, and chest unlocking speed. This effect persists for 15 seconds after they leave Leader's range, and each survivor can only be affected by one Leader at a time. This is a pretty solid perk, and the only thing I would do is change some wording. As such, it will now read, increases the speed of other survivors' healing, unhooking, cleansing, sabotage, chest unlocking, and gate opening speeds by 25% while they are within 8 meters of you. Survivors can only be affected by one Leader effect at a time, and this effect persists for 15 seconds after leaving Leader's range. It's nothing big, but I think it sounds nicer. Prove Thyself. Prove Thyself is a neat little perk. It makes it so that each survivor, other than yourself, gains a stackable 15% repair speed buff for all survivors in a range of 4 meters. In addition, you gain 100 additional blood points for cooperative actions. Prove Thyself does not stack with other instances of itself. Essentially, this just negates the efficiency penalty for multiple survivors working on a generator. It would, therefore, take 2 survivors working on a generator from taking 47.06 seconds without Prove Thyself to taking 40.82 seconds with it. The time it would take with other amounts of survivors will be shown on screen for those interested. This is one perk that I honestly just have no idea how to change. Changing gen speeds is not desirable for me at the moment, as a lot of times they're already done too quickly. And honestly, I can't think of anything else that needs done with the perk. Maybe making it more like other radial buff perks and making it last 15 seconds after another survivor leaves your range? I don't know. Maybe. Meg Thomas. Meg's perks are a bit more interesting to talk about. Adrenaline, Quick and Quiet, and Sprint Burst are all very fun and flashy perks. As such, I'll have a bit more to say about them. Let's sprint burst into those changes, shall we? Adrenaline. Adrenaline is a very powerful perk, which makes it so that you instantly heal a health state and sprint for 150% of your normal running speed for 5 seconds when the exit gates are powered. This effect is on hold if you are disabled, for example on a trap, or in the killer's shoulder, or on a hook, and it will trigger when you are freed. Adrenaline also wakes you up and ignores exhaustion. Adrenaline will cause the exhausted status effect for 40 seconds upon activating. This is all very powerful for a lot of reasons. You get a free health state and move exceedingly quick for 5 seconds. It's not all powerful or oppressive, but it can become somewhat annoying for a killer player. An unlucky killer can be robbed of a kill if they down a survivor just before the effect triggers. This can be a burst of adrenaline for the survivor though. Luck goes both ways and sometimes a killer will just have to live with it. However, I don't think that adrenaline should have its effect held if you are disabled when it triggers. The reason for this is how frustrating it is for a killer to make all the right moves, and then when a survivor is plucked from a hook or a bear trap, they're suddenly at full health and you are just screwed. As such, I propose the following change. Adrenaline will now make it so that you instantly heal 1 health state, wake up, and sprint at 150% of your normal move speed for 5 seconds when the exit gates are powered. Adrenaline ignores exhaustion and causes the exhausted status effect for 40 seconds when triggered. This is still incredibly powerful and useful to survivors while being slightly less painful for killers. I don't think that this change would reduce the number of adrenaline users in the player base, but I'll admit that this is a minor issue with the perk and doesn't really need the change. I just think it would be nice. Quick and quiet. I love this perk. Unironically, this is probably my favorite perk that I'm going to talk about today. It's a gimmick, but it has some fun uses. What does it do? Well, quick and quiet makes it so that vault and hide action noise detection and audio ranges are reduced by 100%. This can only be activated once every 20 seconds. Short and easy to understand. The only change I would make to it is a small quality of life change. As such, it will remain the same as it is now, but will make a small noise notification when it is active again. What will the sound be? I don't know, I'm no sound designer. On to the next perk. We go quickly and quietly, whatever.
Sprint på bärstå.
Other than arguably Dead Hard, this is probably the most powerful exhaustion perk. It is, however, still a simple perk. While not exhausted and starting to run, you will move at 150% of your normal running speed for 3 seconds. This causes you to become exhausted for 40 seconds. Uncomplicated, but incredibly powerful. A bit too powerful due to one small thing. Sprint burst often causes a killer who would get a hit at the start of the sprint burst to whiff due to hit detection. I think it's hit detection anyway. But we've all been there. You lunge at a walking survivor who starts to sprint burst. You normally hit them, but for some reason the game just says, lol, nope. As such, the only change I'd make to sprint burst would be to make it so that these phantom hits don't occur anymore. No change to any other functionality. Seems alright to me. Claudette Morel. Everyone knows Blendette's perks. They all center around healing your teammates and yourself. What else is there to say about them? I enjoy using them, and they're not particularly powerful on their own, but feel a good niche, especially for early on in a survivor's career. I really do wish she had something more game-breaking or frustrating or weak to talk about. It'd be more interesting for us, but like with Dwight and Meg, I have to cover her for completeness. So let's not waste any more time. Botany Knowledge. This is my favorite Claudette perk. Botany Knowledge makes it so that your healing speed and healing item efficiency are increased by 33%. This takes your time healing another player, unaided, from 16 seconds to 12 seconds. Pretty solid. Pretty solid. The only real change I would make to Botany Knowledge is explaining that it is an additive increase to healing speed, so that it's a bit easier to do the math on the fly. Easy come, easy go. Empathy. Empathy, like Bond, allows you to see other survivors' auras. However, it instead makes it so that you see the aura of dying or injured survivors while they are within 128 meters of you. It does not, however, work while the survivor is being carried by the killer. But empathy shares more with Bond than just being an aura revealing perk. What I mean by that is that it gives you a lot of powerful information passively throughout the match. This is wonderful and doesn't really need a buff or a nerf. It isn't flashy, but it's solid. If I were forced to make a change, I might suggest that it reveals carried survivors as well, but I don't think that's necessary. Self-care. Ooh, something controversial. Some say that this is a powerful perk, while others claim it's nothing but a noob trap. I'm more in the former category, but what does it do exactly? Self-care allows you to heal yourself without the use of a medkit at 50% of the normal healing speed, while also increasing the efficiency of medkit usage by 20%. Nothing too flashy here. Instead of healing in 16 seconds, you'd heal in 32 seconds, without any other issues occurring. By itself, it's not particularly great until you remember that regardless of whether you're healing yourself or whether another survivor is healing you, it will be 32 seconds of survivor time. This way, you can heal yourself while another survivor goes and does generators or whatever it is they do in their off time. I don't know. By itself, it's not particularly great for healing, but if you add in a few other perks to it, self-care can become incredibly reliable. Overall, I don't think it needs any changes. In the interest of transparency, however, I did toy briefly with the idea of making it heal at 40, 50, 60% speed based on tier. This, however, seemed unneeded. While it wouldn't be game-breaking, I just don't see a point in a change like that. Jake Park. As a small aside before we begin, I just want to make one small comment on Jake. I hate almost all of his torso cosmetics. They're just not for me. I absolutely loathe playing Jake for this reason. Anyways, onto his perks. They're, again, pretty solid and useful in the right circumstances. No frills, no complications. Let's get to them. Calm Spirit. Calm Spirit reduces your chances of alerting crows by 100% and overcomes your urge to scream due to any reason. I like Calm Spirit. It's an interesting perk and counters certain killers, but at the same time isn't overwhelming, even to those it counters. However, it somewhat lacks use against killers that don't cause screams or on maps with few crows. But I think we can add something that fits with Jake's other perks that deal with hiding your breath. Specifically, I think we should make it lower your uninjured breathing by a set amount. This isn't anything major and still fits with the idea of Calm Spirit. As such, it now reads as follows. Reduces your chances of alerting crows by 100%, and reduces your breathing while uninjured by 50% and overcomes your urge to scream. Iron Will. Iron Will makes it so that your grunts of pain caused by injuries are reduced by 100%. What is there to say about it? We've all seen that immersed survivor who uses this as a way to get the most out of their injured state, or to bamboozle the killer at walls. It's good, clean, family fun. But wait, what's this? A dying survivor! Zounds! They're making noises. No, this shall not do. We must fix this immediately. Iron Will makes it so that your grunts of pain while injured, dying, or on the hook are reduced by 100%. This is, I will admit, in part due to the bug where dying survivors make no noise. Let's take that bug and make it a feature, huh? I think it'd be fun. Saboteur. Jeez, I misspelled that like 6 times writing this. A little fun fact, I guess. Anyways. Sabo makes it so that you see the aura of hooks within 56 meters of the pickup location of a downed survivor. Additionally, it allows you to sabotage a hook without a toolbox once every 60 seconds at a speed of 2.5 seconds. While I like how this perk functions currently, I think seeing hooks within 56 meters of a pickup spot of a survivor being carried isn't particularly helpful. No killer will walk 56 meters to a hook. Well, almost no killer will walk 56 meters to a hook. As such, I propose the following change. Instead of being from the pickup spot, all hooks within 16 meters of the killer are highlighted while the killer is carrying a survivor. Any hook being directly looked at by the killer is highlighted in white. This will, more than likely, increase the odds of a Sabo play, but let's be honest, most Sabo plays are done via toolboxes anyway, so why not give Sabo some love? As such, Sabo now reads, unlocks the ability to sabotage a hook without a toolbox. Doing so takes 2.5 seconds and has a cooldown of 60 seconds. Additionally, unlocks your aura reading abilities. Hooks within 16 meters of a killer transporting a survivor are highlighted in red. Hooks being looked at by a killer are highlighted in white. Closing. Thus concludes our first foray into survivor videos. While I would have preferred some more juicy topics, looking at you, DS, or something so weak that I can really get out the buffing mindset. Hello, babysitter. I suppose that it's sort of nice that we started with uncomplicated perks. At the very least, this lets me work out how I want to approach survivor videos in the future. Hopefully you've enjoyed listening to me say variants of, this perk is perfectly fine, over and over this episode. If you did, why not hook that like button and slug the subscribe button? Don't forget to bing bong the bell for updates, and I don't know where I'm going with this. Whatever. Anyway, I'll answer a fun little question for you. I prefer Meg, then Dwight, then Claudette, and then Jake. But my true love is Bill, whom I will be talking about soon enough. Look at that handsome old man. I bet he'd support me on Patreon, if he used computers. Anyways, it's been a real blast. I'll catch you all next time. Good luck out there in the fog, and have a wonderful day. Or else.